Well, simply put, Life's Priority is a resource center with the purpose of helping people to put God first in their lives. Now, this could be anybody from an atheist, for instance, who is looking for answers to questions regarding God or the Bible. Could be an agnostic, somebody who believes that there's something or somebody out there and wants answers. But the majority of the users of Life's Priority would be people that are believers but then struggle in their day-to-day lives to make God the number one priority in their lives. Well, the concept came about through my own experience. You see, I worked as a minister for 5 years, and circumstances changed, got a secular job, and then all of a sudden I realized that, wow, the average disciple, the average believer goes through a serious dilemma. Because even though intellectually we know that God is supposed to be the first person that we give our time to and everything, it's a challenge to actually live it out. Because what you find when you're living your life as a disciple, as a believer, is that you're being pulled in different directions. For instance, the workplace. The workplace is demanding 110% from you. It's demanding so much, and you want to be committed to that, and you want to give your best at your workplace. But then at the same time, you've got the pull coming maybe from your church, and your church is also demanding for you to volunteer, and you've got this full-time job, and at the same time they're pulling and asking for you to be committed to that. And notwithstanding, you've still got your family commitments. And so what we find, and I'm sure anybody maybe who's even listening to this can relate to it, is that you find yourself living a segmented life. You've got your work life, you've got your church life, and then maybe you've got another hobby that you do, or just a family. And so what you find is that many people would place their spirituality in their church life, when they're focusing on their church. But when it comes to things like work, they don't see God in the picture, and they just have to go to work. Now, unfortunately, what this causes is the outcome is that people begin to get less faithful. They begin to see things in a negative form. And so that's where Life's Priority comes in, because it's to help the average believer to begin to integrate his life, for him to be able to see, him or her to be able to see that God is actually present at the workplace, that God is actually present, yet in church, but in every area. And that's the whole purpose of Life's Priority, is to help the individual to begin to see that, wow, when I look at the scriptures, when I look at the Bible, I can actually see God showing up in every area of my life. Well, our goal is to equip our subscribers with practical, hands-on resources that they can use in their day-to-day lives. Now, what we're asking for subscribers is to go to lifespriority.org. When you get on the page, on the right-hand side, there's a box. Just put your email address in there, and then we'll send you information as it's being loaded onto the website. So we're going to equip you with video lessons. There's going to be audio lessons. There's going to be blog articles and blog posts and book reviews and links to various sites. If there's anything that's going to help you to put God first in your life, we'll send it to you. Now, the interesting thing is, what we want to do is come alongside you to equip you and encourage you to draw closer to God and stay closer to God. And with that, one of the areas that we found that most people struggle with are the areas that people find more difficult to see God in a picture. For instance, would be areas like our finances. So there will be a segment on that, and how we handle our finances, but not just how we handle our finances. We'll be looking at things like what's the purpose of money and how does God want us to use money? How does He want us to spend our money, to save it, to invest it, etc. Also, there'll be a segment on marriages, and we'll be providing you with practical tips and how to have great marriages. And this is something that, yes, if you're a believer, absolutely, but even if you're not a believer, you can follow the principles, and obviously hopefully that can draw them closer to understand why God has to be the center of our lives. There will be a segment on parenting, on how to raise up great kids, on relationships, on how to build great relationships that can help us to reach our full potential. There will be a segment there on leadership, how to become a great leader, how to have great influence in your workplace, in your family, in church, wherever you are. Also, there'll be a segment on health. How do we maintain our health in this busy life that we're in? How do we see God in the picture when it comes to our health? Our ministry, how do we serve people? There'll be a segment on that. How do you find your ministry? How do you find your calling? There'll be a segment there also on personal strengths. For instance, we'll be looking at things like emotional intelligence. We'll be talking about your intellectual growth, and most important, your spiritual growth. How to have great quiet times, how to really connect with God. And also, as I mentioned earlier, about work. Work takes most of our time. How do we see God in the picture? So those are some of the areas that we'll be covering. We'll be uploading, as I said, videos, audios, different links. Now, with all this, the benefit to our subscribers is that as they're being fed, as they're being nurtured, as they're implementing all these tools, the great thing is that they can then take all those resources, as we're using social media, Facebook, Google+, Twitter, and they can share that with their friends. So what Life's Priority also will become is a resource base that they can then share with their friends as they reach out to them and hopefully bring them closer to God. So as we've said, what we want subscribers to do is to go to the website LifesPriority.org and then subscribe, put your email in the box, and we'll be in touch.